Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and to all things language, culture, and travel. Welcome to Sedona. Hey everyone, welcome back. As you know by the intro to this video, I'm going to talk to you guys about Sedona. There are two places that I will never stop talking about. The first one is San Juan, Puerto Rico, and the second one is Sedona, Arizona. Back in February, my boyfriend took me to Sedona. Well, we went to Phoenix, Sedona, and the Grand Canyon for my birthday, all centered around the concert that was on the day of my birthday in Phoenix, which was Bad Bunny, like best boyfriend award, first of all. The concert was amazing, and instead of just spending 3 days in Phoenix, we wanted to see as much of Arizona as possible. It was both of our first time, so we were super excited, and honestly, I don't think I've ever been to a United States as beautiful as Arizona. I mean, that's not saying a lot. I've only been to like 10 states. Of all the places we visited, Sedona was the highlight of our trip, even more so than the Grand Canyon, and so much so that we did 3 hikes in less than 24 hours in Sedona. And those are the hikes I'm gonna talk to you guys about today. Before I talk about those hikes, there are things I really wish I knew before going to Arizona. We went in February, so like, duh, it's still winter, so like, duh, it should still be cold, but somehow I thought we were going to like the desert, and I did this also when I was a Peace Corps volunteer in Morocco. I was like, I'm going to the desert, like it's gonna be so hot. No, it was windy, it was chilly, it was not even sunny. Sedona is actually much cooler than Phoenix by 20 degrees. But the second thing that I wish I would have known is to bring shoes with better grip for climbing. It's not just trail hiking. Sedona especially has a lot of rock that you can climb, and we did a lot of climbing, so I wish I would have brought something that had better grip so that it would have made those hikes a little bit easier. And honestly, the last thing that I really wish I would have known before going is that we could have skipped Phoenix altogether and only done Sedona. Obviously, we went to Phoenix because we had the concert, and I'm sure there are cool things to do in Phoenix. Like, we just were not interested in Phoenix at all. Sedona, by far, is the coolest place I've probably ever been, and I'm a girl who loves to travel. So the first hike that we did was right when we arrived in Sedona. And for a little bit of insight, we arrived in Phoenix and then we immediately hopped in our rental car and went straight to Sedona. And then the second we got to Sedona, we dropped off our bags. We stayed at a place called the Bell Rock Inn, and then we immediately headed off to our hike. We were trying to get to Jordan's Pass, and it was actually a little bit difficult to find parking in the certain areas that we were trying to park in. And this is kind of true throughout all of the kind of parks that you're going to enter in order to get to these hikes. The parking is very limited, so just keep that in mind. Either go early or just kind of have a couple different spots in mind, or maybe think about they do have some type of like transit in Sedona that can get you to those places. Just kind of be aware of that, because that was something we were not aware of. And so when we finally found a way to connect to the Jordan's Pass, we actually parked in a museum parking lot. I don't remember the name, but I'll like flash it on the screen. And from the museum, we entered Cibola Pass and then connected to Brins Mesa, which then took us to Jordan's Pass, and we made kind of like a loop. Hopefully I can make some type of like map and put it here, but if you get to Jordan's Pass, which also leads to like Soldier's Pass, there are so many cool things hidden within that hike itself. I was not the person planning this trip, and I really wish I would have like put a lot more energy into looking into the things before we went, but they have really cool like bridges, and a lot of the Instagram worthy picture spots are basically located along that hike. But that little hike that we didn't really include any climbing. It was very beginner friendly. It was roughly 4.5 miles and took us about 2.5 hours with a leisurely stroll and stopping for lots of pictures. We were super impressed with all of the landscaping. Like, every time you stop and look around, there's just something surrounding you, like all of the beautiful red rock and vegetation. It was just super interesting to see all the different things. It was my first time out west, so obviously I was just like, oh my god, look at all these cacti and just all the cool different plants and things that like we don't have back here in Ohio. And now I'm just gonna insert a little bit of footage from our time on that hike. no bikes allowed, but feel free to bring your horse. So if you want to make a little loop like we did, we took Jordan Trail to Soldiers Pass, and then now we're following Brins Mesa back to where we started at Jordan Trail. The wind is starting to pick up. It's actually 5. The sun sets at 6:30. I'm so serious about getting back before dark, but my boyfriend is not as serious about that. But I think we have like maybe an hour and a half, so literally right at sunset, and we should be back at the car. Okay, so we just made it. Let me check the time here. 6 o'clock. It was roughly, I would say probably 4.5 miles. I did start my watch a little bit late, but for reference, we started here. I'm gonna flip my camera. We started here and went this way, and we went all the way to Soldiers Pass, came down Brins Mesa. Let me move my hand. Brins Mesa. And now we basically made a whole circle, and this is the parking. We did pay $5 to get a little parking pass and put it in our car. And yeah, that was our hike.
Come on.
So the second hike that we did in Sedona was Cathedral Rock. We woke up, it was the day of my birthday. I was up at like 4:45 because time change. We woke up and wanted to do a sunrise hike. Well, I wanted to do a sunrise hike. So I woke up my boyfriend, we packed everything up, and we headed off to Cathedral. So Cathedral is the most photographed and I think the most famous of the vortexes that are located in Sedona. So the vortexes are just kind of like a place where there's like a lot of spiritual energy that you can tap into. Like I said, we were there super early, roughly 7 a.m. and the parking lot was already starting to fill up. There were already people on this hike even before sunrise. So keep that in mind. These places are extremely busy. So this is one of the hikes that I would definitely recommend having hiking or climbing shoes for, shoes with good grip, because I would say a lot of it at certain points was more climbing than it even was hiking. We of course didn't really have those type of shoes, and we were able to accomplish the hike and the climbs without too much difficulty. So it is possible. It just kind of like depends on like skill level. I wouldn't recommend it for like children or like elderly people to do that without like a specific shoe or without like some serious like guidance from like a parent or an adult. Or I could see it being difficult for some people. So it's 45 minutes from the bottom all the way to the like end of the trail, but there are a few other like places that you can explore if you like pop a left, like right where it says the trail ends. There's even like a little sign on the rock that's like says like more this way, and it has an arrow pointing. So we of course went and explored, and once you get to that point it becomes very windy, like so windy that it knocked my hat off of my head, and then I had to like tie my little drawstrings around like for the rest of the hike because I was scared it was gonna fly off. But yeah, so like there are like more places to explore. I honestly even think that you could get to the top. My boyfriend claims that he saw on TikTok that people are getting to the top. I think it would be very dangerous to try to do so. But so 45 minutes of a very steep hike, your heart rate is gonna be moving, and it's beautiful, gorgeous views. Like you could probably say that about any hike that you do in Sedona, you're gonna have views. Basically round trip took us about an hour and a half, so not a bad hike at all. So I'm just gonna insert some footage from our hike at Cathedral, and then I'll meet you back here for our final hike. It's like 6:45 and we're about to go hit a little sunrise hike at Cathedral Rock. I also just want to show you guys like how small the parking lot is. Like yesterday we couldn't find parking in the original parking lot that we went to for the Soldiers Pass. So just make sure you either come early or find alternate parking because there's really not a lot. And he's just buying it. It's $5 rec pass for, I'm assuming, all of the places where you can hike. I also just noticed this sign, like it looks like you could probably be picked up from somewhere. Looks like they got this little thing. I don't know, you know, like just if you aren't planning to rent a car or you want to be more carbon friendly, I would check this out. I also forgot to mention that today's my birthday. How old do you guys think I am? Write it in the comments. And this is what I'm gonna do first thing in the morning. Right now I'm sitting in between this and this, and that wind is no joke. Literally blew my hat off. I had to like do some climbing to go get it. I guess we're going back down, and then heading to Bell Rock. So Bell Rock is the third and final hike I'm going to talk about from our trip to Sedona. There are obviously many more that you can do, but these are the ones that we accomplished in our like 24 hours in Sedona. It might have only even been like 12 or 15 hours that we spent in Sedona, but we just really wanted to do as much in nature as possible and do as many of the hikes as possible. So Bell Rock only took us about 2 hours and it was 3.2 miles. Now, right from Cathedral, we actually went straight to Bell Rock. I will tell you that after the first 2 hikes, Bell Rock was extremely difficult for us because we were just tired. I don't want to say extremely difficult, like it's a nice hike and like it would be an easy hike minus the climbing. There are certain spots that if you really want to get to the top, you're gonna have to climb, and it's gonna be even difficult to get down. We did see an older lady basically up to the point that we got to, so it is possible for everybody. As long as you're healthy, as long as you're in shape, go as high as you can. The views are just incredible from every spot, and of course I'm just gonna like pop it in the views that we had from the highest point before I put some more footage in. But we loved Bell Rock, and I wasn't thinking, or don't even really have kind of like the camera to capture like the shape of Bell Rock, but maybe I'll just like insert a picture. But the shape of Bell Rock is so interesting. I've never seen anything like it. And honestly, the whole time we were in Sedona, I was like, this looks like Mars. Are we in Mars? It's so red, it's so rocky, it's so cool. I just loved everything about Sedona. It just feels like you're on another planet. And I think I've heard people say that before, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Never really thought about it again. But really, Sedona is so special. As a person who likes to travel internationally, I find it really difficult to, I think, appreciate a lot of places in the US, specifically here closer to home, like in the Midwest. Even though there are places I'd like to visit, like the Upper Peninsula, there's a couple places in Kentucky and West Virginia, but I've never felt that type of special connection to like the land that I live on and where I was born or anything like that until I went to Sedona, and I was like, wow, this is really special. I think maybe call it the spiritual energy, but like there's just like a feeling that you have when you're there. And at one point I just like put my hands, my face on the rock, and I feel like I sound like a crazy person, but I was just like, I looked at my boyfriend, like, do you feel it? Like it just, there's just energy. There's so much energy. But anyway, back to Bell Rock. So yeah, I definitely give Bell Rock the best views. I think it just gives you the biggest kind of panoramic view of a lot of the rock formations in Sedona. Honestly, if we went back, I would want to hike Bell Rock again. I would want to do all 3 of those hikes again. So I'm gonna insert some footage from Bell Rock, and then I'll meet you back here. So we just made it to Bell Rock. There was a little bit more parking here than there was at Cathedral, and that's where we're going next. So You can use the same pass. Don't quote me, but we're using the same pass. It says valid at all Red Rock locations, so $5 for the entire day. So we just parked and we're gonna go do Bell Rock. Finally, the sun started to come out and we're on the other side of Bell Rock, so we're trying to get all the way to the top, following him blindly and climbing. But here we go. Oh, how did he get up there so fast? Okay, so 1 hour later, and I'm not going up there. He's crazy if he thinks I'm going up there. Plus, like, low-key feeling a little nervous being right here, huh? Yeah, look where we made it. 20 minutes down from being at the top. I'm gonna show you. Oh, you know what? I don't know if you can see. That's where we just were. And like literally 20 minutes later, we're already back on the ground. All right, we're doing a little loop back to the car. I thought we were gonna do another hike, but we were both like super tired and we gotta drive back to Phoenix. So we're gonna hit up a little bit of shopping here in Sedona and then we're gonna head back to Phoenix. So that's gonna be it for this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed learning about Sedona or just seeing some of the views or the things that we saw during our trip. So like I said, there are two places I'm always talking about. It's Sedona and Puerto Rico. If you're interested in Puerto Rico, I have a video of the trip that my sister and I took to Puerto Rico that I filmed and posted last year. I'll leave a link below. I really encourage everyone to go to Sedona. Like if you are just like, I need somewhere to go and Sedona never really crossed your list, or if you are planning a trip to Sedona and you just needed the inspiration, I'm glad that this video could show you all the things you have to look forward to. And until next time, I will see you in another video. Bye.